This was my first time using rattan on a piece of furniture. Overall, I think it looks great and it went relatively smoothly, with a couple of funny hiccups along the way. Let me show you what I did and perhaps what I could do a little bit differently next time. I ordered a bunch of samples of rattan, put them in the design, sent some samples back and forth with the clients, and we finally found something that we really liked. I watched a heap of videos on how people do this. I read a bunch of articles, etc., found some books, and there's a really wide variety in the ways that people attach rattan, from the quite agricultural, using a staple gun and a bit of glue, to the more refined, routing a slot and putting a spline in. Of course, I wanted to do the more difficult way because it's kind of the proper way, and also what I do is complicated things with timber. So I decided to route a slot and use a spline. However, I ordered all the rattan and I didn't order any spline. Honestly, part of me always assumed that I would use a timber spline. I didn't really realize that there was a specific product that people used for this, that people have been using for as long as they've been using rattan, which is essentially a flexible piece of cane. It's called cane spline, and it is a round piece of cane that gets hammered into the slot and that presses the rattan into the frame. Cane spline has its advantages. It's flexible, which means you can do curved shapes. Often on rattan seats, there'll be a curved frame, works great for that. It's slightly squishy, which means as you press it into your slot, it's not gonna damage the rattan. The things I didn't like about it was, to me, it looked a bit cheap. It's a white color, it doesn't match the timber. It just reads as a different material, and I really wanted this all to look consistent, like it was made from the same material. So I decided to use a timber spline, and that came with a whole host of other complications. But it's still a viable option, it looks great, and I'm gonna show you how I did it. Now, as far as I can tell, almost nobody uses a timber spline. They use the cane spline, and there's really good reasons for that. First of all, if you have anything curved, don't even think about using timber, just use the cane spline. But if you have a square frame or rectangular where all of your routed channels are straight, then you can use timber and it can look really good. Essentially, the way the rattan is installed is you route a little slot in the timber, and then a little spline pushes the rattan into that slot. Now the spline can't be a tight fit because it has to also fit the rattan in there. And figuring out that tolerance is one of the tricky parts of this job. Traditional cane spline is a rounded profile of about 5 to 6 mil in diameter. There actually might be different gauges, but again, I didn't order any, so I don't really know. But the timber spline that I created also has a rounded profile. It's about 5 millimeters by 8 millimeters with very rounded over corners, and that prevents damage to the rattan. And it also means it looks kind of nice. It's important that your spline is all consistent and really smooth. So I put all of mine through the drum sander to make sure that it was exactly the same thickness. Then I rounded over all of the edges on the router, and then I sanded the entire thing by hand. The timber I used is the same timber as I've used on the rest of this cabinet, which is white mahogany. It's a really dense Australian hardwood. It's very strong, but that being said, if you make your spline too large, it will split the edge off that slot. And when I did a test piece here, I actually did put a tiny crack in here. Also, if it's too wide, if your spline is too wide, it's very hard to hammer in. So the first thing I did was I took my doors, which were already made, and I routed this channel through the back. It's a 1/4 inch wide by about 8 millimeters deep, so 6.14 by 8 millimeters deep. And I did that in 2 passes. It's set in by about 10 millimeters from the inside of the frame, and that gives me enough strength in the wall of that rebate, or the wall of that slot, and also means I've got a nice amount of timber left over in the frame. Since my slot was around 6.2 millimeters wide, I needed my spline to be smaller than that, and these ended up being about 5.5 millimeters thick. That gave me a little bit less than a millimeter to account for the rattan that was going to get squished into that slot. When you install this rattan, you need to soak it for around 30 minutes in warm water. When it's wet, because the cane is a little bit squishy, it also compresses a little bit more easily, which means you can get a nice tight fit as you press it into those slots. One advantage of using cane spline instead of timber is it's quite soft, which means when you need to join those two splines together in a corner, you can slice that miter really easily, often in location as you're pushing it in, just by using a Stanley knife. Obviously, I can't slice 6mm of white mahogany with a Stanley knife, which means I needed to pre-cut all of my miters on the miter saw. Now this is trickier than you think because your spline is smaller than your slot. So figuring out exactly where those splines need to be when you cut the miters is tricky. And I placed each spline into a slot using a couple of strands of that rattan so that ideally they would be in the right spot. Once your rattan is cut to size, it's damp but not wet. I toweled mine off to make sure it wasn't dripping. I used some hide glue to start pressing those mitered splines into the slot. Now, in practice, I was able to do these in by hand, but when everything was wet and I had hide glue and I had the whole panel to do, I really had to whack them in with a mallet. I used a wooden mallet and I used an additional piece of timber to protect the spline when I was whacking it in. But it did take more force than I was expecting, and in the future, I would make my splines smaller. So it's really worth doing a test, and probably doing a larger test than you think, so you can really get the feeling of what it is like to do a large length of spline into that slot. I did my top spline and my bottom spline to balance that force, and then I did my left and right. Perhaps you could go all the way around, but I was worried that that tension as you applied it might twist things slightly, and by locking the top and bottom and then the left and the right, I was able to get a more consistent result. Because ultimately, you want those lines of the rattan to line up really neatly in the doors. And mine look good enough. From a meter away, they look dead straight. If you look really closely, you can see a couple of strands that dive in towards the frame. All of this is glued together with hide glue. And what that means is that if this gets damaged, or if I wasn't happy with the layout, I can actually remove the hide glue by steaming it away. I have spare rattan if I need it. And if I'd done this with PVA, once it's glued in, there's nothing I could have done to fix that. What I found, and I've seen other people do this too, is I removed the additional strands that were running parallel to my slot, so that the only fibers that were going into the slot were running perpendicular to the slot. What this means is that you're not trying to force long strands down along the edge, and it just makes the whole thing a lot cleaner. You need to make sure that you don't remove so many of those outside strands that it actually impedes into the part that you will see of the rattan. But if you look closely here, you can see on the back side that there's a vertical strand missing. And that's so that the only strands that I'm compressing in this orientation are the horizontal strands. And I essentially did that the whole way around, and it makes the installation a lot easier because in this instance, an additional vertical strand there would just be getting in the way and it wouldn't be providing any strength at all. Because you're putting wet or damp rattan onto your timber frame, I chose to pre-finish my entire door frame. What that means is that I'm not raising the grain and I'm not putting water stains on an unfinished piece of timber. The finish that I used, a hard wax, protects the timber from any water staining, and it means that I don't really have to worry about wiping all of that hide glue off as I go along. I don't have to worry about that raising the grain or changing the look of the timber in some way. I also was aware that I didn't want to be trying to finish these door frames with a hard wax when the rattan was in there, because I would end up putting hard wax on the rattan. Now, you could probably tape that, etc., but it was a lot easier to pre-finish these. I don't pre-finish lots of components, but there are occasions when I do, and this is a prime example. Once you've hammered in all your splines and you're confident that it's as square as it's going to get, I used a Stanley knife to slice off the spare bits of rattan that have come back out of the slot. You can just put the knife down in the V-groove that's formed by the frame and the spline and slice those pieces of rattan right off flush. And the whole thing looks really nice and flat from the back. It is slightly raised by about 1 millimeter, basically by the thickness of the rattan, but the rear side looks really flush, and the front side has the rattan recessed to the back of the frame. A couple of my miter joins at the corner ended up being looser than I would like. You can see that there's a gap here. That's a gap that I can fix. I can put a sliver of white mahogany in there, and I doubt anyone will ever see it, but it would have been nice if it was perfect the first time. There is a lot less leeway when you're doing this out of timber. It's a trade-off. It looks nicer, but it is trickier. Put the whole frame in a flat place. I clamped mine to a flat plate just because I didn't want any tension from this rattan to distort the doors in any way. I'm not sure that clamping would have helped that, but it certainly made me feel a bit better. And as the rattan dries, it shrinks and you get this really nice tension with zero waviness or bulges in this rattan. And I'm not sure that I'll be able to show you this, but this actually has a really nice tone. It's got enough tension on it that it rings slightly. It sounds like a dull drum. I'll hold the camera to it and see if I can get some sound of that for you. But there's no creases, there's no floppiness, and it's gonna stay that way. So, that was the first time doing rattan. I'm sure it won't be the last. What I would do next time is make my splines a little bit narrower. And I would ideally want to do a test on a larger piece of rattan rather than just the mini one that I did. It would give me a much clearer idea of how it was going to feel when I was hammering that in. Also, having the splines being slightly slimmer would mean I had a little bit more play as I was putting it in to make sure that my miters were perfect, and would mean that I don't need to be fixing them now, which, you know, it's fine, but it'd be nicer if I didn't have to do that. Ultimately, I would be happy to use timber splines again. I think they look really nice, and again, I don't love the look of those cane splines, but cane splines are there for a reason. They work, they're probably a lot easier, and if you've got a curved shape, it's really the only option. So, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of it. Let me know if you have any great hot tips for installing rattan. There'll be some links down below to the products I've used. Until next week, keep making stuff.